Hello, welcome back to part two on Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain by Betty Edwards. This is chapter two, Expressing Yourself in Drawing, the Nonverbal Language of Art. And in this exercise, Betty is asking us to, on a sheet of paper, right in the middle of the sheet, write your own name the way you usually sign your name. Next, regard your signature from the following point of view. Are you looking at a drawing which is your original creation? Shaped? Is it true? By the cultural influences of your life? But aren't the creations of every artist shaped by such influences? And just to remember, the purpose of this book is to teach you basic skills in singing and drawing. The purpose of the book is not to teach you to express yourself, but instead to provide you with the skills which will release you from stereotypic expression. This release in turn will open the way for you to express your individuality, your essential uniqueness in your own way, using your own particular drawing style. So after the first signature here, Betty asks us to go ahead and write your name three other ways. So just trying to draw, I was going to say draw, sign your name in a different style. And then she's asking us to think back on how we responded differently to each of these signatures. Recall that the name that was formed by the drawings did not change. What then were you responding to? So under the signatures, after I write my third one, we're supposed to respond to each signature. You want to respond to how you were seeing and responding to the felt individual qualities of each drawn line or set of lines. So here, I guess you could say I'm judging, the signature and kind of different personality aspects, or how sometimes you can, or I have, I should say, looked at a signature and thought, oh, they're very creative with all the loopy loops that they do and such. So you're responding to the message without words, is what she says. And she also says that your signature, however, does more than identify you. It also expresses you and your individuality, your creativity. Your signature is true to yourself. In this sense, you already speak the nonverbal language of art. You are using the basic element of drawing, line, in an expressive way unique to yourself. I had a lot of fun with this. I could have done more, and you know, so you can see here I'm going to start analyzing my thoughts on each signature. And I'm not sure if you can see what I wrote exactly, but yeah, it was kind of fun. I'm just going to go ahead and let you guys know in the next chapter of the book is called Your Brain, the Right and the Left in It. And it goes on to explain in great detail how our brains work and how you can switch back and forth. They've done diagrams by split brain patients. Um, they've designed tests for use of the split brain patients that might illustrate the separate reality perceived by each hemisphere and the special modes of processing employed. Sorry, excuse me. So this chapter goes into a lot of detail like language cues, the bias of language and customs, the two modes of information processing, the aha response, images in the right mode. And yeah, she does a really good job of breaking down L mode, left mode, and R mode, right mode. So if you're interested, I encourage you to read that chapter. I'm not going to go over it because A, it would be boring, and it's really something you need to sit and take your time reading if you want to understand. But she does, like I said in the previous video, she has lots of wonderful quotes from artists and people that have actually done the exercises. Okay, so here I'm going to show you, I'm just going to skip chapter 3, and we're going to go to crossing over, experiencing the shift from the left to the right. And so the exercise here is vase drawings. And so the exercises that follow here, Betty says, specifically is designed to help you shift from your dominant left hemisphere mode to your subdominant right mode. She said she would go on describing the process over and over in words, but only you can experience for yourself this cognitive shift, this slight change in subjective state. As Fats Waller once said, if you gotta ask what jazz is, you ain't gonna never know. So it is with R mode state. You must experience the L to R mode shifts. Observe the R mode state. In this way, you come to know it. So you're basically going to be drawing a vase. So first she says, read all the directions. And if you're left-handed like myself, draw the profile on the right side first. So you're gonna basically, she does show you the examples, and you're going to make up your own version of the profile. She does say it helps if this profile comes from your own memorized stored symbols for a human profile. So next you're going to draw horizontal lines at the top and bottom of your profile, which I did not do. And then you're going to go back over your drawing of the first profile with your pencil. And as the pencil moves over the features, and oh, I skipped over something. So you're going to draw a profile of a person's head on the left side, or on my case, the right side first. And then you're going to do the opposite. And this is where your brain really struggles a little bit. You have to think about the curve. I don't know, it wasn't too bad until I got to the mouth, and then I kind of had to, or the chin, I'm not sure. I kind of, as you can see, got a little frustrated there. I was like, which way does that line move? So that's where I fell to that switch, or that struggle, from the, what is it, the L to the R mode shift. So that wasn't too bad. So the next example, you're going to do another one. And here she wants to have you draw the Baroque vase and a monster face. So I only did the monster face because evidently I don't know how to read directions. But sorry about that. On the left side of your paper or on the right, draw the profile of the oddest face you can conjure up. A witch, a ghoul, a monster. Again, name the parts of the face as you go down the profile, naming also whatever embellishments you add, such as wrinkles, moles, double chins, etc. After you finish the first profile, add the horizontal lines at the top and bottom for the vase. So you'll see that one coming up. I apologize I didn't do the third drawing on here, but I think you get the gist. And the one thing else I didn't do on the next drawing is I didn't go and name the parts of the face. Actually, that was on the first part, like the forehead, eyebrow, eyes, nose, mouth, chin, etc. But it was really neat. I kind of enjoyed this monster face on the right side. As you will see, it came pretty naturally, just kind of making it squared or jagged. So I'm just going to pause for a minute and let you just watch and see what happens here. And I really do encourage you guys to try these exercises. I can tell you by the end of this video, I did see an improvement, and I'll explain that to you in a few minutes. As I was drawing, I was like, this doesn't really look like a face, and I lifted my pencil and I was a little frustrated, as you can tell, but you can kind of see. And I think I went over some lines here. Okay, so now I got to do the shift. So here we go. Yeah, I had to use my finger to kind of see where I was going. And you'll see the same thing that I did in the next example too, which I will tell you is do a drawing of your figure upside down. And I think what I'm going to do with that one is I'm going to fast forward it and you can watch. And as you can tell, it wasn't exact, but yeah. So that was vase number 2, the Baroque vase and the monster face. So I'll go ahead and talk about the upside drawing, making the shift to R mode while I set my paper up here. Familiar things, and this is what Betty says, so I'm reading from the book here. Familiar things do not look the same when they're upside down. We automatically assign a top, a bottom, and sides to all things we perceive, and we expect to see things oriented in the usual way, that is, right side up. For an upright orientation, we can recognize familiar things, name them, and categorize them by matching what we see in our stored memories and concepts. When an image is upside down, the visual clues don't match. The message is strange, and the brain becomes confused. We see the shapes and the areas of light and shadow, but we don't particularly object to looking at upside down pictures unless we are called to name the image. Then the task becomes exasperating. Seen upside down, even well-known faces are difficult to recognize and name. For example, they show here the photograph of John F. Kennedy, and his picture is upside down. Do you recognize him? You may have had to turn the photograph right side up to see that it is John F. Kennedy. Even after you know who the person is, the upside down image probably continues to look strange. So she's also reminiscing back to your own handwriting turned upside down is probably difficult for you to figure out, although you've been reading it for years. It says to test this, find an old shopping list or letter in your handwriting and try to read it upside down. A complex drawing such as the one shown upside down in this figure, it actually shows Giovanni Battista Tiepolo upside down, and they're asking us to look at it, is almost indecipherable. Like you can't really see what's going on. You can't really understand. Like your brain's not going like, oh, what is that? So anyway, here we go. So this is what I want to explain first, and then I'll let you watch. So when I started this first drawing, and I did do a second one, which I think came out much better, I was merely focusing on the line and shape. I wasn't focusing on proportion at all, or the spacing, or any of that. I was so hyper fixed on line and placement. And you will see at the end this figure, how it turned out, and I think it's hilarious, and I'm definitely going to keep it. And then at the end of this video, I did another drawing upside down, and I seem to have relaxed in the next drawing because I understood the feelings that were coming as I was working and looking upside down, and I started to do more of the, oh, this is the shoe, this is the leg, this is the part of the garment, and looking more in proportion and like the hand and everything. You'll also see in this one, because it is a figure of a person sitting, I had to erase a couple of times. But I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this for you so it doesn't get too monotonous. But I hope you enjoy, and I'll be right back in a jiffy.
So, as you can see here, I don't know if you can even understand what's going on in here. You can see where I had erased the hand and my cat had jumped up on the table. And as you can see, my right hand is guiding where my left hand is going in the picture, if you can understand that. That really helped because I was struggling and it was a funny feeling in my brain, but I was really determined, and honestly, I was kind of anxious because I wanted to see how this was turning out, so I made myself slow down and just look at a line. And I think I started a little bit to try and realize that my proportions weren't exact, but that's okay. I'm just going to read a few more little tips in here about this process from Betty. And she did recommend to do this exercise 30 to 40 minutes. I actually forgot to time myself, and she said, and more importantly, do not turn the drawing right side up until you're finished. And trust me, don't, because hopefully you'll just have a laugh. It's pretty cool. It's astonishing. I hope you do this and, you know, um, enjoy and not hate what you drew, and then go ahead and do the second drawing. And I am supposed to do a third drawing, and I will do that, and I'll show you that in the next video. She says, Betty says, look at the upside. Well, we're not going to do that. She says, well, when you start your drawing, begin at the top and copy each line, moving from line to adjacent line, putting it all together just like a jigsaw puzzle. Don't concern yourself with naming the parts, it's not necessary. And that's so true because I was so focused on figuring out where the lines were. So, yeah, I was trying to figure out where the lines were. I wasn't really worried too much about anything else. I couldn't even name what was happening. Um, I think at some points I did know, well, this is part of the clothing and this is part of the chair, but that's as far as it went there, so that is a true statement. It says, in fact, if you come to parts and perhaps you could name them, such as the hands or the face, remember, we're not naming things. Just continue to think to yourself, well, this line curves in this way, this line crosses over, making that little shape there, and this line and that angle compared to the edge of the paper, and so on. And I will admit that is exactly what my brain did. And she also says, again, try not to think about what the forms are and avoid any attempts to recognize or name the various parts. So, again, it's so true when you're doing this for the first time, a whole drawing, you're not, you're, yeah, honestly, I do think you're really focusing on the line. And she says here, once you've started drawing, you'll find yourself becoming very interested in how the lines go together. By the time you are well into the drawing, which is right now and at this moment in the video, your L mode will have turned off. This is not the kind of task the left hemisphere readily takes to. It's too slow and it's too hard to recognize anything, and your R mode will have turned on. Remember that everything you need to know in order to draw the image is right in front of your eyes. All the information is right there, making it easy for you. Don't make it complicated. It really is as simple as that. And I'm just going to finish up and then I'm going to speed up the video. She says, after you've finished, turn your drawing right side up and you'll probably be quite surprised at how well the drawing came out. That is so true. I was surprised that it actually looked like the man. I thought maybe some of the lines would be disjointed or nothing connected, but I was really encouraged, and I hope you guys are too if you try this. The drawings on the left side show that, well, sorry about that. She gives examples in the book of people who drew the image right side up and then the image upside down, and you can clearly see a marked improvement in that one exercise. So it's incredible, guys. I think that is it. I do encourage you again to get this book and read. There's so many good chunks in here. It's not a fast-paced book, to be honest. Just to chunk it out and do little bits and pieces. If you do commit to the exercises, I really do believe, and I'm only in chapter 4, I've already seen an improvement. So I'm going to go ahead and speed up this part of the video, and I will talk at you in a little bit. All right, this is going to be kind of the funny part here, so if you want, kind of pay attention. I was a little freaked out because I do draw faces a lot. I've never done a whole face completely upside down. I have drawn faces and then turned it up to look at proportion and stuff, but I kind of knew as I was drawing that it was going to be funny. However, once I turned the drawing upside down, again, um, it is funny, but even though it's funny, I really, really was impressed with the results. So, yeah, I was super excited about this exercise as much as I dreaded it. And then when I read, um, Betty says, before you read any further, do at least 2 more drawings upside down. Use either the reproduction in figure 412, which I will show you at the end of the video, or find another line drawing to copy. So in the next video, I will go ahead and show you my last one that I did. I still need to find a source for that. And each time you draw, try consciously to experience the R mode shift so that you become familiar with how it feels to be in that mode. So just a heads up, the next chapter and the next part in this video series is going to be drawing on memories, your history as an artist. And I kind of started reading through it, and she talks about how at about 9 or 10, we kind of lose our growth for drawing, meaning that after that, we don't really draw much anymore. And so when we ask adults to draw, like later, they're kind of still drawing when their drawings look like 9 or 10-year-olds. That's because educators and the educational system um, didn't really find that really important, obviously, because reading, writing, and math were important, but not drawing. So this chapter is really incredible too. I'm not through it all, um, but I can't wait to see what drawing exercises are going to come of that. So as you can see, the head is so small, and then the arm riding on there on the chair, it looks so funny. I loved it. I thought this was incredible. Funny. I know I keep saying it, but I'm just totally amused by this image, and you can see I said LOL. So Thanks for joining, guys. I really appreciate it. I really hope you come back to me for part 3. You have a wonderful day, and leave me a comment below and let me know what you think. Love ya. Bye.